Guys, are you ready for the panel discussion? Because we have some special guests. We have Alex Summers from Activision, Rex Ching from Netflix, Will Robinson from Alliance.xyz, and of course, Alex Belyanking from Legion Farm. So please welcome Alex on stage and our guests online. Alex will be our moderator, so please, a round of applause, guys!
Hey everyone. Hey guys, for everybody who's getting ready for the Warzone tournaments, we invite you to get closer to the stage because we will have a lot of interesting conversations right now. And we got an Alex Summers from Activision here. He's going to able to answer some of your questions regarding the game that he will play right now. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be interesting for you. And also we have Rex from Netflix, and we have William from Alliance.xyz, and I think they will introduce themselves better than me. So I'm just trying to make sure that we have all our speakers online here, and I see Alex, I see Rex, and what about William? William, are you with us? And let's make a sound check. Meanwhile, Alex, can you say something? Rex, can you say something as well?
Sure. Good morning, Legion Farm, Major, Mexico.
Hello. All right, Rex, can you say something as well?
Hello, good morning, everyone.
All right, we hear you. Hey, William, can you hear us?
Hi, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. All right, so yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining our panel discussion today. As you know, we have the Legion Farm annual community gathering here, and we have over 200 pro players from Warzone, from Apex Legends. We have representatives of Yield Guild games here. We have gamers who play Web3 games as well, and we have a lot of our NFT owners here, and pretty much everyone is almost everyone is the NFT holder of Legion Farm, and yeah, the mission of Legion Farm is to create 1 million new jobs within the metaverse. We create jobs inside of the video games, and our community is really interested to find some effective ways to increase the amount of in-game jobs and to make it in a good way, you know, and to make it effective. So that's the reason why we came here for the panel discussion. And my first question that I'll ask, could you guys introduce yourself? Alex, we can start from you.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Alex. I work at Activision. Specifically, I focus on the live operations of our game business. Specifically, in the fall. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, great. And yeah, I've been at Activision for a couple of years now, and really my focus is on making sure our players are happy, delivering experiences that delight them, and making sure that we maintain a robust business. So I'm excited to be here today.
Perfect. Rex, your turn.
Hi, everybody. My name's Rex Ching. I'm actually with the device platform strategy on the media streaming platforms, Netflix. So my main role there is product and innovations for the all our smart TV and all our streaming technology partners. Really nice to see you guys all here, and I'm very excited about this opportunity to be in this Web3 ecosystem chat.
Perfect. William, and your turn. Cannot hear. Could you activate your microphone?
Hey everybody, sorry about that. My name is Will Robinson. I work at Alliance, where we accelerate Web3 companies, particularly Web3 games. My own background is a PhD in video game design, and I've been living in Web3 for about 5 years now. Happy to be here and engage with you guys in these awesome contexts.
Some people told me that William is the PhD in the Web3 games and games specifically, so we are excited to hear about some interesting insights of this industry. So let's get started. Let's get started with the questions. So my first question is to Alex Summers, and then to the rest of the participants. I had a chance to read the research that says that the secondary economy of World of Warcraft is actually $1 billion market. Alex, do you know anything about the sizes of markets of in-game jobs, and which one do you think is the biggest?
Yeah, I mean, so World of Warcraft is obviously a massive, massive platform, and there's lots of secondary kind of economy activity that goes around that game. Um, in terms of like, if I can verify that, I probably not live. I couldn't do that, but I can probably get back to you on a note to see if that's accurate or not. But I'd assume that's pretty much in the ballpark of what's reasonable. In terms of just the size of these economies and games, if you think about big games like Warzone and even Apex Legends today, there's a lot of like wagering things that goes on outside of the game, right? And I'm sure everyone is kind of part of that ecosystem today. And if we could bring that onto the platform, you could think how big that economy could be. If we said, hey, to play a Warzone match, you have to put up $5. The winning team gets, whatever, $500. What does that do in terms of like an economy? Well, it really expands that and creates like a play to earn dynamic. In terms of what exists today, I think most of what you're seeing is like, in terms of the biggest economy, I think it's probably Axie Infinity in terms of player-owned economies. But in terms of like just general game economies, I think the really big games of the world today, Honor of Kings, League of Legends, Fortnite, those types of games really drive for publishers the biggest economies. And I think in a future state, we could see that players own more of those economies.
Thank you. William, I think we have the same question for you. Do you think that the Axie Infinity is the biggest in-game economy right now, or do you see some other, maybe even traditional games? For example, I heard that in EVE Online, there are like alliance with dozens of thousands of people, some of them working for the full time in these organizations. There's like, World of Warcraft, EVE Online, and some other games that it seems like they are forgotten, but they got a really huge secondary economies, and no one even speaking about it, because some parts of these economies are like are not approved by the game developers. So that's why they're kind of in the shady category. But the question is, like, what is the biggest one? What is the biggest in-game economy that creates jobs for gamers right now? William, what do you think about it?
Sure, that's a great question. I mean, there are a lot of different ways to measure economies or thinking about them. I think that we saw for a while Axie Infinity have this remarkable sized economy valued at over $50 billion. But those sort of numbers are easy to inflate and easy to misunderstand. Also, we're seeing new Web3 games like Steppen, just like past the $15 billion mark. So there's a huge number of competitors, but I think where the real value is being created, where people are actually like working to create something and are not sort of stuck in a pyramid scheme, are the standard Web 2 games like World of Warcraft, like Dota 2, like League of Legends, where there are robust esports, where there are pros getting played to perform, and we're seeing people pay tickets to watch these sort of sports worlds grow. I think that's where we're seeing real value from pro players being created, as opposed to this sort of mock value that comes from grinding out pyramid schemes.
So I've heard that there are over 300,000 people that earn money, at least $500 or more, creating content in the video games right now. And I also heard that there is like a big question market that is emerging right now and growing really fast. And the esports market is about to become the $1 billion market as well, but we are not sure if the whole amount of money comes to the bank account of pro gamers there. It seems like organizations actually take a lot as well. But yeah, I think our next question is for Rex. I've heard that Netflix has a lot of interest in the gaming industry, and which other giants do you know who might join the gaming industry soon?
Very good question. We're still early on, a lot of things to learn, but I can share some of the chat with a friend from a public research company called Omdia. They basically, we work with all the biggest researchers and telcos, try to understand where that comes from. definitely, I think the big tax will be on the giant online game and the cloud gaming industry. And also, second part, I will look at the telcos. An interesting study is showing that there's a lot of uptick of the telco right now, targeting into how we can make gamers more successful, leveraging on the rapid growing gaming economies like Alex and Will you just mentioned. Thanks to the evolution of technology, right? You see a fiber to home and 5G evolving very quickly. There's a lot of bandwidth going to sell. So I'll be seeing a lot of pay will be in the bundling of telco services to gamer specific. For example, you can do a cloud gaming rerouting for like a high performance esports and games. So I see all those infrastructure companies who come together to play, and that actually generate a high demand of better content as well as like a better players. So like Alex, I look at Legion Farm. You're in the perfect positions because that's a perfect place. You build communities and actually build more professional gamers on there. So that's actually what I'm seeing from the ecosystem right now.
That all of the pro players here are glad to hear that because yeah, they do what they love. They play games for full time and they get paid for that. We are pretty sure that we create ikigais for people. That's the Japanese philosophy that says that you can be truly happy if you do something that the world needs, something that you can get paid for, something that you truly love, and something that you are successful at. So I think people that attend this event today, they have all four things at the same time, and they're happy people. And we are happy to hear that such companies as Netflix and others support pro players, creators, and other in-game jobs and the gaming industry. Thank you so much. Alex, William, do you have something to add here?
I think that it's important to know that Web3 games aren't going to be magically different from sports or Web2 games when it comes to creating values as a pro player. So pros can teach people how to play, they can beat people, and some people like to lose to pros, so that's a value creation. And then they can provide spectacle, play really well. And we're going to see more of that. And the benefit we might see for Web3 in like entering this equation is going to a longer tail of pros. We might be able to pay more people efficiently because of the financial infrastructure that comes with Web3. So you could be like only above average and be considered payable or employable. And maybe that's like where the magic kind of comes from, I would say.
Thank you for sharing that. And well, William, Rex, Alex, all of you are the Web3 investors, and you probably know a lot about this industry and category. And what do you think are the major problems for the Web3 games right now, and when do you think they are going to be solved? William, you can take the first answer here.
So one of the biggest problems with Web3 games is scaling. Blockchains were not meant to have a lot of transactions, and the fact that we're putting so many on chain is already breaking them. We're seeing layer one protocols just like failing in the light of new games taking popularity on them. So figuring out scaling, huge technical problem, years away from it. In the meanwhile, we can only put games slightly on chain, so to speak, at least for many players. And that's one. The other one is games are accidentally breaking a lot of laws and putting their game developers and their players in legal jeopardy. That's a lot of work to do there on the regulatory front. And then the third sort of really big challenge is we weren't meant to make the kinds of financial decisions that Web3 enables. Like as humans, like we don't think that way. Like we're not taught in schools how to manage financial decisions that Web3 presents us all of a sudden. And so I think a lot of people are falling prey to misunderstandings of how to use their money in Web3 and are losing a lot of it. And so I think player education needs to come there with the financial angle. Those are the sort of three things I'm thinking about.
Alex, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think fundamentally one of the big parts of Web3 conversations around economy. And if you read the white papers, a lot of new games, there's a lot of discussion around different economy designs. And I think right now it's kind of a core tenet of these Web3 games needs to be that like money in needs to exceed money out. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand that, you can't just play a Web3 game and make a lot of money, which is an issue because a lot of people, to your point, are getting burned. So I think the economy focus is one thing that really needs to be more thought through in a better way or in a more player-friendly way. I think the second big thing for me is when I play these games is they're not fun, right? A lot of these games are more financial instrumentation than they are games. And so I think for Web3 games to truly kind of blossom, you're going to need traditional games like Call of Duty to embrace that technology in a way that benefits both us and the players. And, that hasn't happened. I think we all saw what happened with Ubisoft's announcement, and like, it's going to be some time, but we need some proving points in just the Web3 gaming industry that comes up and shows, hey, these games can be fun and some players can earn, and the people that make these games can benefit as well.
Cool. Okay, and our next question is, William, what are your top 5 Web3 games that you think will gather some audience that people will play, that will be played for fun? That are going to be able to retain users and have some people that actually play that game for fun and bring some additional money into the economy of this game. Not just dump it, but pump it, and not just investing, but investing in their own fun. What are your top 5 games in this category right now?
I wish I had 5 to name. Currently, I think Dark Forest is the most sustainable and well-designed game in Web3. It doesn't have a token; it just has some NFTs. I think that's really worth checking out, and it can only really be played by people who are pretty nerdy, and it's like not retail. I think that's what blockchain is suitable for right now. I think that Axie has a real legit chance of being a great game. They're building all the time. They've got a huge budget. They unfortunately had a hack earlier this month, which has really slowed them down, though. Hopefully they'll recover soon. Otherwise, a lot of the games right now are trying to figure out how to pivot into becoming social media platforms, NFT marketplaces. They're realizing that it's easier to make infrastructure and product than it is to make games. Like the people who make games well, that's like Blizzard Activision. Like they have like people have been training to do this for decades, right? And have incredible expertise. And to think that you can just like one day wake up and think you can make a great game is really embarrassing to everybody, I think. So other great games going top 5. I think Skyweaver has a shot. It's a pretty fun like card game. I think that there are unannounced games like Ember and the Lattice games that are really bubbling and creating a stir, but we haven't seen them yet, so we don't know.
And what do you think about the Phantom Galaxies? We've heard about this game. It looks promising, but it's not on your list.
I have very little information about it. I have not really dug deep into it, so I can't answer.
I see. All right. And our next question is for Rex. Rex, so Netflix has a huge audience, and you were not the one who told me that information, but I heard from other sources that Netflix might be able to launch something like gaming platform or something. I don't know exactly, but if Netflix is going to enter the gaming market, what kind of games do you think are going to appear on Netflix? Do you think those are going to be just like competitive games or arcades or like single-player, multiplayer games? Like, what do you think is going to be the first focus of Netflix, theoretically, if Netflix will join the race in the gaming category?
Yeah, don't think it's the right time for me to comment because, as I said, right, the gaming to us is very early. But if you want to ask my personal opinion, right, we always want to prioritize our members. Basically, we were looking into what can bring joy to our members. That will be our target audience. Now, whatever that means, the games, we are still in study, but that's actually what the first will be taking care of.
Thank you for answering. William, and we have two more questions here. I have one for William and Alex, and the second question is going to be for our pro player. My current question is, William, how many people do you think are working on the gaming economy, are working to create a tokenomics and proper gaming economy for the best games from your list or like other games? And more specifically, the question is, what is the proportion of the team size, like for example, 20% of team members that are working in these gaming studios, in these games that has the in-game economy, the secondary economy? What is the proportion of team members that are working exactly on economy to make sure that the economy is healthy? How important is that?
I would say it's one of like the lowest percentages. Like you're going to have way more community managers, devs, admins than you are going to have game economists working across Web 2 or Web 3. I think it's important to also realize that broken economies have been serving a lot of Web 3 games, right? Like if you can make $300 a day playing a game, everybody wants to go join that game, which makes like demand for the game grow greater, which means you're making more than $300 a day now because more people want to do it. But that's always that's an unsustainable model that people don't have the financial knowledge to realize is unsustainable, right? And so a broken economy has been serving these games. I think at the end of the day, you just need to realize that there's more money coming in than going out if there's more value being created. And the only way to really create value in a game is with players doing labor, right? And that labor is either generated content, streaming, mentoring, professional play. So like you guys, the people in this audience are the people who make game economies matter, right? Without your labor and your work, which has historically been underpaid, I think, by the major game companies out there. And I think what we're seeing is Web3 is finally starting to pay people for the labor that they've sort of deserved for some time and realizing they can take much smaller margins, right? So a smartly designed economy now is one which is less greedy on the game dev side because it can grow much more massively if it can redistribute to players. The problem is they've been redistributing to the wrong players, and that's what the game economists are realizing now. If you're paying not pro players, you have a hard time growing your game sustainably because they're not creating enough value. And that's like good news for all of you, right? As there's more money coming your way because you get to shill the games on your stream, attract more players, make the game more profitable, and then capture that value yourself again. So even if we're not going to see very Web3 games coming out to support pro players, we're going to see Web3 payments and Web3 rewards coming through like maybe more traditional games in the near future.
Pretty much the same question I want to ask you, but I want to add something. We all know that World of Warcraft has the secondary economy where a lot of people earn gold and sell this gold on the secondary market. We also know that World of Warcraft itself created a token that can be exchanged for gold and that can be bought from the Activision Blizzard. And this token is the most stable in-game currency ever for some reason. You know, there's a lot of people who generate that gold and trying to, there's a lot of people who resell that gold and they trying to keep the exchange rate of currency, like real like dollars to gold on a lower level than the actual exchange rate of the official World of Warcraft token. But at the same time, this market is not getting dumped for some reason. This economy is not going down. This economy is like stable. This WoW token, despite the gaming audience determines the cost of this token, it's not a Blizzard who control the cost of this token. It's a gaming audience who's playing that game. They determine what's going to be the payment for that token. So despite they doing that, like, this economy is not going down. So we see that in some games like Axie Infinity, there is like a crazy roller coasters of their token, right? And the question is like, how World of Warcraft achieved that? It's pretty much the same economy. People generate a lot of that currency and trying to sell it, etc. But it's not going down. It's just stable and etc. Like, do you think it's just ecosystem that supports because there's enough demand from those who's buying this gold and enough supply, and it's just a balanced system? Or like, how many people in World of Warcraft team actually working on this in-game economy? Because that's phenomenal how this token exchange rate keeps and doesn't fall down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good example that Web3 games should probably look at and try to learn from. But I think the answer kind of comes down to what you were alluding to, which is just kind of engagement and supply and demand. Because we've had such a big player base in that game for so long, you have a lot of people that desire that token. And so even though there's people that are going and trying to farm that and trying to create like a larger amount of what's there, it doesn't really affect the price very much. And it comes down to just having millions of daily active users, all who are playing, buying, and using that gold. I think that the number of game economists on Blizzard, I mean, there's still like, a fair amount of people, in probably less than 100, but close to that are working around kind of the World of Warcraft economy design, and they do a good job of fine tuning it, right? This is an old game. They've been at it for 10 plus years. So they know what they're doing. And I think that additionally, the subscription model helps to balance that game out, right? If you know that you're going to have subscription revenue coming in every month, it helps you kind of plan for an economy that might fluctuate more from a developer perspective.
That's an interesting question. That's an interesting answer. Thank you so much. All right, I think that we are out of the questions, and for those who controls the picture from our cameras, could you show the second part of our venue? Because actually there's around like 150 people there right now who's getting ready for the biggest Warzone tournament, and we know that they will watch this stream in a replay, but currently they are getting ready for this tournament and they are excited, and we'll be happy if someone from Activision will also watch this tournament, and Rex, William, and other people who participate in this stream right now and in this venue. Yeah, excited about the upcoming tournament, and thank you everybody for joining us. And Alex, Rex, and William, thank you so much for answering these questions. It was a great time talking with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.